Being a line cook is a lot about working with and inside of organized chaos. During service, it's really, really hectic and incredibly fast-paced. 15 minutes will feel like 5 seconds. It's really just about getting the food out as fast as it can be made and as well as it can be made. Prepping, by comparison, I get to take all this time to compose myself. It's a little bit like a moment to breathe before we have to get going. And I obviously just take a lot of pride in putting out the best possible product. Hi, I'm Tristan Kwong, line cook at Bonnie's Brooklyn. We're here in Chinatown, it's 10 a.m. and before we go into Bonnie's, I gotta buy some fruit for the restaurant. Right now, we're in an alleyway underneath the Manhattan Bridge. I would consider it a hidden gem. I come here because they have a huge selection of Asian fruits, which is indicative and representative of the Chinese American culture we represent at Bonnie's. The fruit platter changes every day based on what they have at market, so let's go see what they have. The fruit plate is on the menu because at the end of a Cantonese banquet dinner, they'll serve you either a plate full of oranges or honeydew or something boring and bland. At Bonnie's, we wanted to switch it up and give you something way more delicious. So it's the end of September right now, and I'm looking at end of summer, beginning of fall fruit, which holds a lot of pit fruit and a lot of citrus and grapes. We used to get fruit from vendors in huge cases of like 50 or 60 a piece. Not only was it expensive, but you didn't really get to do a lot of quality control, so things would be rock hard. I live down here, so I have access to all of this, and then I can just take it to the restaurant in Brooklyn. Sorry about the train. We're actually literally underneath the Manhattan Bridge. So these are muscadine grapes. They're like regular grapes, except bigger, and they have a thicker skin, and the flesh is like a gummy bear. These are Asian pears, and they're really, really good. They're like halfway between like an apple and a pear. They're super juicy. The best ones always have the most like super up spots on them because that's all the sugar coming to the surface. Avocado are technically fruit, so I'm gonna grab these not for the fruit plate, but for family meal. 4 for $5. Where can you get a cheaper avocado? I make family meal for the team almost every day, and I like to make good food to give people good feelings. On to basket 2. So these are long on. It translates roughly to dragon eyes. So we're gonna grab some dragon fruit. We have 3 varieties. It's white, yellow, and red. The really ripe ones will have a little bit of give, but you gotta be careful because out here, if you squish them too hard, they'll come over and yell at you. It's about 11:30 now, and I need to check out so we can get to Bonnie's. It's noon now, we just got to Bonnie's. So this is our dining room. It's gonna be packed in about a couple hours. This is the pass where all the food comes out. And this is our service kitchen where I spend most of my time as a line cook. I'm gonna head downstairs to our prep kitchen to put this fruit away and see what I gotta do for the rest of the day. So we're in our prep kitchen now. And the first thing I do when I come in is check our master prep list to see what I need to do for the day. Tasks get broken down based on station. So we have a walk station and a steam station. It's kind of first come, first serve. So you can grab whatever task you like the earlier you are, or you could push off the task that you really don't like to someone else if they come in later. There are a couple things that I usually do as a line cook to get us ready for service. Today I'm gonna be deboning ribs, I'm gonna be making green sauce for our fish, and I'm gonna be cutting fruit. And the first task we're doing today is green mustard condiment for the fish. Change and let's go upstairs. All right, let's go. So as a personal icon of mine, Guggino likes to say, a man without the sauce can be lost, but the same man can be lost in the sauce. So the first thing we're doing today is making our ginger scallion sauce. And that's the base for our green mustard condiment that goes on the fish. Ginger gets peeled really easy with a spoon, does not take much. I can't tell you about everywhere, but here we try to have the line cooks as involved with the process of the stuff that we serve on a day-to-day basis. I think it's important that we have eyes and hands on it so we know exactly how it's made, or if we need to make it during service, just in case, we know how to do it. The fish comes butterflied and deboned. From there, we take the fish, we scrape all the meat out with a spoon, we grind it up with shrimp, water chestnuts, and garlic chives, and then we take that same meat that came out of the fish skin and stuff it back into the skin. And for service, we throw it up on the plancha, shallow fry it, and it comes out like a beautiful ocean hot dog. On a technical scale, that dish is crazy, and it goes really nice with the sauce we're about to make. Throw the ginger into the Roboku. It's like not a paste, like it still has some consistency to it. You want it to have like a small crunch or at least a little bit of texture. And now I'm just gonna throw the peppers in because they are gonna take much less time to blitz because they are much softer. If I threw the peppers in at the beginning, the peppers would be mush and we'd still have pretty big chunks of ginger. So we're gonna move the oil into this wok, get it ripping hot. Very powerful things demand respect. The wok demands respect. You can see it's like a jet engine. All the jets point one direction. This is easily my favorite tool in the whole kitchen. Yeah, I think every restaurant should have a wok, if not even just to like heat up water. So I'm just gonna add some garlic here and scallions. That's salt, sugar, and MSG. So we pour the essentially boiling oil over our ingredients so that the oil will pick up the flavors. You gotta go slow because it's working with the moisture inside. Super hot. Right now we're just gonna let it hang out and we're gonna let that oil soak up all the flavor. I have to blanch these scallions in the wok. This is a pasta tank, we use it to clean the wok. I'm gonna shock it right here into some really, really cold water so that they stay nice and green. Flick that wrist. So this is our ginger scallion sauce. Like we whipped a bunch of air into the oil so it's emulsified. It's like nice and bright green. It is my favorite sauce in the restaurant. And we'll just pour it up, put it away until we're ready for service. So I'm gonna label and date these and I'll throw them in the fridge. So it's 1:30 now. We're gonna debone ribs for the McRib sandwich. So we have baby back ribs steaming in our steamer here. So they're just whole ribs. We throw them in here after they've been marinating for 24 hours. Right now I'm just splitting the backs of the ribs. We take the membranes off. I'm just trying to create like an opening for the bones to come out. This is more or less a 3-day process. We spend 1 day marinating them in a secret marinade and then they get steamed the second day. You can see that they're like super duper flexy. They're basically ready to fall apart. And then on the 3rd day after they've chilled and settled, we take them out and we portion them. Like pretty much no give. I can just slide my finger under here and the bone will pop out. My tip to not burning your fingers is to burn your fingers a lot. It's like building calluses. The more you do it, the less it hurts. At this point, faze me no more. The chassis McRib, obviously modeled after the McDonald's McRib, except this is not a homogeneous congealed patty of something that is supposed to resemble rib meat, but actually about 1/3 of a rack of ribs, which is absurd. It's like eating 4 or 5 ribs in one sitting, boneless, just in a couple bites. It's covered in char siu glaze, which is a very, very Cantonese dish. It gets Chinese hot mustard, and it gets placed on a milk bun we source from Chinatown, bread and butter, pickles, and onions. Between the acid and like the fattiness in the ribs, the bite is just magic. Next thing we're gonna do is just stack them up together like this. So it's 2:30 now. I'm gonna bring these downstairs, put some heavy weights on top to get them flat so we can portion them tomorrow. And I'll bring fruit up so we can cut our fruit please. All right, so actually this is my favorite part of the day. When I get to cut fruit, I get to slow down. I get to take my time and I get to be like super meticulous with it because not only is it food, but I consider it to be like partially art. We're gonna start with the pomelo. I'm gonna go ahead and supreme it because pomelos have quite a thick skin, as you can see. And supreming just kind of means to like remove the flesh from in between the segments. Growing up in Queens, in a large Asian American neighborhood, there was always a lot of fruit around. Fruit also has like a deep-rooted connection in like Chinese families where if you have an argument with your parents, they won't really say sorry to you. They'll just bring you a plate of cut fruit and that's more like their apology. Or if they wanted to say I love you, they won't like say I love you to your face, but they'll bring you a plate of cut fruit and it's essentially the same thing. So when we opened, we had 2 desserts on the menu. One was the fried milk sundae, which is mind-blowingly good. And we had a fruit plate. I got put in charge of the fruit plate. I wanted to put something out that was as good, if not better, than the sundae, which is really, really hard to do. When they put me in charge of getting fruit, they also granted me the title of fruit sommelier. And it was kind of like a running joke for a little while, but like now I actually do like curate, buy, quality control all the fruit inside the restaurant. So it does make sense, even if it does sound funny. And I wear that with a badge of honor. I changed my Instagram handle to Fruitsom. Follow me at Fruitsom. I'm like one of the few people in this restaurant that have like a deep interpersonal like relation to fruit. Cutting fruit to order during service is kind of a nightmare because there's so many things that are going on at the same time. So I'll cut enough to have some backup, and I'll plate roughly maybe like 4 or 5. And then that way, in case we do get fired on some during service, we'll have some fruit on backup. Now we're gonna cut our dragon fruit. So I like to go white, yellow into red because the red one will stain my knife, and if I cut red into a white one, it will stain the fruit completely. So these are dragon eyes. They're called long an in Cantonese, which literally translates directly to dragon and eye. They're called dragon eyes because if you split them open like this, they have a black pit in the center and the flesh is kind of translucent. So it looks like a dragon's eyeball. These are lychees. And I kind of do them the same way I do the long an. And these ones taste like rose water mixed with citrus. I like cutting them like this because they kind of look like little acorns. It'd be kind of boring if it was just like a bunch of like cut squares of fruit. So I like to have a little bit of fun in the way we like cut the stuff. I'm gonna plate a couple up so that we're ready for service. I like to start big to small so that way I can create gaps for the smaller fruit to sit inside of. You want it to look like bountiful without looking crowded, and you want it to look full without feeling like overwhelming. Add a couple last touches, and then I'm gonna wrap these up for service. And it's 3 p.m. right now, and I need to get started on family meal ASAP. Okay, so I'm kind of running late, but I just brought up a bunch of stuff for family. Today we're gonna have tacos. I'm gonna make tacos because when we were at the market earlier, I saw a bunch of really, really cheap avocados, and I wanted to make guac, so we're gonna have guac and tacos. We usually have a lot of excess rib meat from the scraps from the McRib. I'm just gonna throw them on the plancha. I'm gonna chop them up like carnitas. I'm about to char a bunch of peppers to make salsa because we don't really have any tomatoes in-house. Whatever I can find in-house and whatever we're not running low on, I can use for family meal. There's no rules. The only rule is that I get it up in time for people to eat and for us to open service. I personally put a lot of effort into my family meal just because I don't want to feed our staff garbage. If they eat bad, they're gonna feel bad, and then we're gonna have a bad service. I'm gonna char a bunch of stuff over the wok now. Family meal is usually left up to the lowest guy in the totem. Here, whoever comes in earliest is usually the guy who works the middle shift, which is the shift I'm working today. A lot of the time, I don't really know how much I should make for family meal. I would rather there be leftovers that people could take home than make not enough food for everybody because everybody's got to eat, you know? So I'm usually making food for between like 14 to 17 people a day inside of 1 hour. So it's not always the easiest thing to do, which is why it's important to keep all your tasks like nice and tight. These are the avocados you saw me buy earlier today at the fruit market. It's gonna be a quick mix. So we're gonna add a little bit of lemon juice because we don't have limes here. I'm gonna add a little cilantro, some onions, salt. And because we are a Chinese restaurant, I will throw a little MSG in there. I think you have to perform well under pressure for almost any line cook job. Not for the faint of heart. I'm gonna get the salsas in the blender, then rib tips on the plancha. I'm a little bit nervous that I won't make it in time, but we'll see. So these are our rib tips. They're the waste that comes from the McRib. We're just gonna treat it like carnitas, and I'm gonna let it run for the next 5 or so minutes while I finish up the rest of the salsas here. One of the family meals I made once ended up on our menu for a special. It was a long hot pepper stuffed with the fish paste, which is something I ate growing up. Sometimes you're just like around and you find out, you know what I mean? I think family is a great time to do a little bit of R&D. You're just be in a kitchen setting, like work with things that you probably normally wouldn't get the chance to work with. Oh, gochugaru. Think like toasted red pepper flakes from an Italian restaurant, but from Korea. I don't know if this is gonna be any good. That's pretty tasty. So that's almost family. 2 sauces and a guac, and I gotta get these ribs all chopped up. All the meat is already cooked because we steamed it. I threw some orange juice, some lemon juice, salt, and MSG in here. I'm just gonna coat it up, and then we're about ready to go in family. Dinner's ready. I'm just lighting the oven. I'm so large that I actually can't see the pilot light, so I kind of just go in here and I pray to God and I keep clicking the button. There we go. All right, so it's 4:30 now. We're getting our final push before service. You can see everyone behind me is pushing really hard to get their meat set up. So we got 4 of us back here. It's 3 of us on the line and 1 person at the pass. Right now, we just gotta finish putting stuff away. My station is middle station, which means that I help both sides. So I help pick up fish on the steam side, or I can help pick up things off the wok because I know how to work both. Mainly, I'm responsible for picking up ribs and finishing everybody's dishes. We're all pushing really hard right now. We have about 25 minutes before our doors open. I think the most important skill set for a line cook to have is a sense of urgency and a sense of organization. Right in here is our congee. So we have all the toppings for our congee set up directly across. It's about creating paths of least distance between 2 places. That's how you be ruthlessly efficient.
Line check in 5 minutes. Make sure you have sannies, and I'll taste all the broths and congee too.
Yes, chef. All right, so I got chef in the window pressing us for time to get set up. Doors open in 5 minutes, and the dining room's gonna fill up real quick. So we're gonna get our final checks done, and we're gonna have a good service. All right, guys, it's 5 o'clock. I hope you guys got to see what it's like being a line cook. I hope I made it look easy. Bye-bye. Hi, I'm Tristan Kwong, line cook at Bonnie's Brooklyn. What was it?